Hi, it's me, Olivia. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe to my channel for interesting stories and visit my Patreon page for early access, link in the description. Thanks. I had to remove my breast forms, maybe for the last time. It felt funny not wearing them. The first shot didn't do much, except that I felt warm for a couple of hours afterwards. The next day I was a little tired, but nothing to complain about. The same held true for the next 5 weeks, except I felt a little more tired than the week before and the warmth lasted a little longer each time. The following is from Jackie's notes, as I don't remember a thing. We took some measurements before we started. Her chest was 34, her waist a 28, and hips a 30. Mrs. No hips. I didn't tell Cathy, but each of these shots were twice the dose of the previous, and that they had something added to make her sleep. As the drugs are hard on the body due to the rapid changes that happen, it's better to sleep through it. Cathy, I know you're going to read this, I love you. I gave Cathy her first daily shot at 7 on Friday morning, and she will get another one every 12 hours for 7 days. She became sleepy and fell asleep on the sofa. I woke her up a few hours later and helped her to the bathroom and then to bed. I woke her up again later that afternoon to give her some energy drink, to keep her strength up and go to the bathroom. I didn't notice any changes yet. I put her back to bed naked so that I could watch her. She had her second shot at 7 p.m. Still no changes. On Saturday morning, I noticed a little tenting at both nipples. I got her up to the bathroom and back to bed. It was a real struggle. Gave her the shot at 7 and let her sleep. Checked on her from time to time and everything was fine. Noted some more growth this evening and gave her the evening shot. I'll leave out giving the shots, the bathroom trips and drinks. Sunday morning showed some nice growth with some firm tissue under the areola. A good sign. Sunday evening was really noticeable. I was wondering how large she was going to be. It depended on the females on her mother's side, and I had never met one of them. I had no idea how big her mother was. Monday morning. I would say she was a small A at this time and very firm, like a young girl. It's a shame that she can't experience the growth that she is going through. Monday evening showed even more growth. And I think I'm seeing some other changes in her body. Tuesday morning, I measured her and she is now an A. And her hips are looking bigger. Tuesday evening, her areolas have gotten bigger and darker, and the nipples have grown. Wednesday morning, measured her again and now a small B. Her hips are at 31 inches and waist at 27. Wednesday afternoon, more growth. I hope this isn't too fast for her system. Thursday morning, measured again, a full B. Hips are 32, waist still at 27. More growth in her areolas, they are going to be bigger than mine. Nipples a little larger. Thursday evening, last daily shot. She will start waking up tomorrow. Still seeing more growth. Friday morning, back to the weekly shots. These will help bring her down slowly from all the drugs. She should be fairly awake by this evening. I checked her over fairly closely and it appears that her skin has gotten softer. There has been some minor changes in her face, not to mention her breasts, waist, and hips. We'll measure them when she's awake. I finally was able to shake the cobwebs out late on Friday afternoon. Jackie wouldn't let me out of bed right away. She was afraid that I would pass out since I'd been in bed for a week. She gave me one of those energy drinks. I wanted real food. I was finally able to sit up early in the evening, and I noticed that I had breasts, real breasts, my own breasts. The skin was tight, but Jackie said that it would slowly stretch. I was finally able to sit up and put my legs over the edge of the bed. It was a very interesting feeling having real breasts move when I did. So much different than forms. I slowly stood up with the help of Jackie as I was a little dizzy, but didn't pass out. I stood there for a while as I adjusted to being upright for the first time in a week. I then slowly walked over to the full-length mirror and looked at a woman with a nice set of breasts, hips a little wider than I had remembered, and a full set of male equipment. In simple words, a she-male. Jackie was standing behind me, smiling. I reached up and felt my new breasts, and they felt so nice and firm. The skin was soft. My hand brushed across the erect nipples and sent a wave of pleasure through my body. I felt my hips. They felt fuller and the skin softer. I then looked at my face and noticed some changes. Very subtle, but some changes. It appears that my face was filling out a little and the skin is becoming softer. We redid the measurements and I was now a nice firm 34C, small c but a C, a waist of 27 inches, and hips of 32.5 inches. And from what Jackie said, things will continue to change slowly for the next 6 weeks. I can't wait to see the final results. Jackie was standing there just beaming and said that I'd better put some clothes on. I turned around and she handed me a bra that was a little smaller than what I was used to, but fit my new size just fine. The panties that she handed me fit a little different, must be my new hips and butt. I then put on my robe and went into the kitchen to get some real food. After I had eaten some real food, I was feeling much better. And Jackie said, "Well, are you happy with what you're seeing?" "Oh, very much. I can't believe the difference and the feelings I'm having." "Wow! Want to try out the new equipment?" Jackie said with that smile and twinkle in her eye. "Yes, more than ready," I said with a smile as I stood, took her hand, and headed to the bedroom. Over the remaining 5 shots, we knew that other changes were happening, but they were very slow. We waited until a week after the last shot to take another set of measurements. My breasts were now a full 35C, my waist was down to 25.5 inches, and my hips were up to 34 inches. Now, my face had also changed, and it was so gradual that no one really noticed, not Jackie or the people at work. But when looking in the mirror, Tom was nowhere to be seen. It was all Cathy. We had a surprise today, a call from Patty and N. They apologized for not calling sooner and taking us up on our offer to come visit the ranch. They had been real busy with their business and hadn't been able to get away until now. We were so happy to hear from them and said that they could come anytime. So, we made arrangements for them to come down next Friday and told them to come hungry as we would have a real barbecue. And that we had a surprise for them. Friday rolled around and I was cooking, so when they arrived I was out back at the fire pit. When I could leave the fire, I found the 3 of them sitting on the front porch sipping lemonade and having a real chat. Jackie was the first to see me and said, "Hi honey, look who's here." Patty and Ann turned around to say hello. They stopped mid-sentence and just stared. Finally Ann said, "Cathy, is that you? What have you done? You're gorgeous." "Well, hello to you too." I quipped back with a big smile, followed by hugs all the way around. Jackie said, "I haven't told them anything yet. I thought that we would wait until after dinner to fill them in on all the details." We all walked to the back of the house and I served up a great Western meal. After dinner, we went back and sat on the front porch. Patty and Ann just couldn't get over how good I looked and that I looked better than a number of real girls that they knew and wanted to know how it was possible. I let Jackie tell them the whole story and they sat there in silence until she was done. And then said, "Is this still experimental or is it available?" Jackie said, "It's still somewhat experimental, but can be made available to certain people if they are recommended by a member of the development team." "Why?" "Well, Patty is really a male." Jackie and I looked at her, and it was hard to believe. She was a picture of femininity. Patty nodded and said, "Yes. I was born a male, but have lived most of my life as a female. I never felt right as a male. And when I found, and it was like a prayer being answered. She accepted me for who I was and helped me really find myself. I guess it was just like the 2 of you. We have enjoyed our relationship of woman and she-male. But I've always wanted more." And continued, "Patty was very close to taking her life when we met. It's been a long road, and you witnessed a very high point on the road the day we were married. And we are very glad that you were there." Jackie then asked Patty, "What is it that you want to accomplish?" Patty just looked at me and smiled and then said, "If I could look and feel half as good as Cathy does, I would be in 7th heaven. It would be like being reborn." Jackie said, "It can happen. But first I need to talk with your doctor to be sure that there are no medical problems. This is a very big step, and I really want you to think this over, sleep on it, and make your decision in the morning." "Okay." Jackie was being more official than I had even seen her. I guess she wanted to be sure that this was what they wanted. Patty said, "Okay, we'll sleep on it. And you have already met my doctor. Dr. White isn't just a minister, he is also a medical doctor who works closely with the transgendered community. Dr. White is also an MD? Interesting. Jackie said, if you decide to go on, we'll call him tomorrow and see what he says. Everyone then helped clean up the dinner mess, and the old bottle of wine was brought out. It had turned cold, so we sat in the den and talked some more. Just before everyone was ready to turn in, Patty asked, could I ask something without being too forward? I said, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Ask away. Could I see what you look like, I mean? I smiled and said, I know what you mean. You want to see what has happened to this male body to make it feminine, right? Yes. I looked at Jackie and got a smile, a twinkle, and an okay. I'll be right back. I went to the bedroom stripped and put on a thong. I then put my favorite silk robe on and went back to the den. When I walked in, the three of them were standing by the fireplace and they turned to look at me. I undid the robe and let it drop to the floor. The next morning at breakfast, Patty and told us that they had discussed it all night and that they would like to try and do the transformation. Jackie said, we'll give Dr. White a call a little later, and if he says there is no problem, then I'll check with the powers at work on Monday and see what we can set up. Patty and Ann just smiled at each other. Later that day we called Dr. White. He remembered us and said that yes, he was an MD and had been Patty's doctor since they moved into the area 5 years ago. Jackie went on to explain what we were planning, after telling Dr. White that this had to be kept quiet. He spoke with Patty for a few minutes and then with Jackie again. When Jackie hung up, she smiled and told Patty that Dr. White had said there was nothing physically wrong with Patty, but that he wanted to see her just before we started the week-long set of shots and just after. Patty and enjoyed the rest of the weekend and left late Sunday afternoon for the drive home. Jackie said that she would be in touch as soon as she had everything set up. When Jackie arrived home from work on Monday, it was like she was walking on a cloud. I said, it looks like you had a great day. I did. I got everything set up for Patty and I'm pregnant. Pregnant? Yes, with child. You're going to have to be nice to me from now on, she said with that little twinkle that I had come to love. How? I didn't think that I could make babies. Oh, but you can and you did. The formula that you were given didn't stop the production of sperm. I stopped taking the pill 3 months ago and I'm 6 weeks along. Happy? Oh, more than happy. I just can't put it in words. I gave her a big hug and kiss. What other little surprises do you have up your sleeve? I'll never tell. But at least one and maybe more. What? You will find out soon enough. I started chasing her through the house and caught her in the kitchen. The kisses and hugs were more passionate than the first. We called Patty and that evening and gave them the news about Patty's transformation. And set it up for them to come down next weekend for the first shot and then to spend time at the ranch for the week-long series of shots. We didn't tell them about Jackie's pregnancy. Please subscribe for the next part and visit my Patreon page for early access. Thanks.